now in network marketing, 25 years full time. And so we work with a lot of people. And, as we all probably know by now, not everyone is going to become a leader. And so I feel really honored. And I just feel like I'm in a really special environment when I get to communicate with leaders and participate in leadership development. It has been, leadership is the one thing that I've probably studied more than anything else. Early in my career, I heard a quote that many of you have probably heard from John Maxwell. He said, everything rises and falls based on leadership. And when I heard that, I was totally broke. But I just made a commitment that one day I was going to become a great leader. And as I started becoming a better leader, I made a big commitment to helping to create leaders. And so it is, I feel like a calling for my life. And so these events, the bronze and above, we do a gold and above call. As we continue to grow, we're going to be doing, blue diamond trips and sapphire trips and all kinds of really cool things. And it's just going to be so much fun as we grow. It's exciting being in the very beginning stages of a company like this, where we're just now figuring out, who are the leaders that are going to be with us as we grow this company into, hundreds of thousands and millions of members around the world. So, I'm excited to be here in these times. And so I hope you appreciate being in these environments because it's rare. We're going to look back on these. There's going to be a time where we can't do bronze and above calls because there's just too many. It won't make sense to do a bronze and above call. And so this is really cool. And so I'm going to talk for a little bit. Efrosyni, I'll introduce her. You already know her. One of my very best friends in the world, the closest person I have in my life to a sister, not blood related, but brother and sister by choice. And so it is a joy to be able to work with her. I'm going to stop talking about her because I tear up when I do. So today, what I want to cover is a couple different main things. And number one, I just want to be super as transparent as I possibly can with you. What's the hardest thing in this business? And the hardest thing in this business isn't anything tactical. The hardest part about succeeding in network marketing, it's not learning the skills. I thought for a long time it was. I thought, man, if I could just be the great presenter, if I could just learn how to invite better, if I could just learn how to close better, if I could just learn how to get new people started better. And those things are important to learn, but it's not the hardest thing. I mean, by far, the hardest thing is our mindset. It's dealing with the challenges that we go through. And sometimes over the years, I've had a handful of people tell me I'm too negative. I had a network marketing, somewhat of a leader in another company, and he came to one of my trainings just to see, the training. And he was like, I can't believe you make it sound so hard. And I said, I don't think I make it sound hard, but I tell the truth. And because we tell the truth about what it takes, we get people to win, right? And I think it's a big key. When I was in my first 2 years in network marketing, I was in Amway, and they didn't hide away from the truth. They never made it sound easy. They said it's a lot of hard work. You're going to want to quit, right? It's going to take, a few nights a week for 2 to 5 years to get to a full-time income, to have financial freedom, but it'll be worth it, right? So we don't need to tell people it's easy. We need to make sure they know it's worth it though. And so here's the challenge. Like, what's going to knock some of you out of the game? Like right now, we're a few months old. We're less than a year old into the company. And, the last company that I, really built actively, I joined 3.5 years late. They were already doing events with 1,000 people. I missed the beginning. The leadership meetings were much bigger. And so to be part of something in the first year is amazing. But some of you are likely not going to make it. Like, I would love to say all of you are going to make it, but some of you aren't. And it's not that you can't. Every single one of you absolutely can. You cannot convince me that every single one of you on here, all 27 of us on this leadership call, you can't convince me that you can't make it. I know you can, because in 30 years of doing this, I have seen people from all walks of life succeed massively. I've seen people who have less education than you. They're not as smart as you. They have less experience than you. They have less money than you. They're dumber than you. Like, I've seen it all. And I've seen them win. There's a story I remember when I first started like stepping into my leadership and started having some success. I came to this event and there was this guy who had like really like, I think he had abused drugs so much, his teeth were just rotted out. He had long, scraggly hair. He wore this flamed shirt, like dirty kind of jeans. And he got up on stage where the rank was the equivalent of like 50 people on the team. And I remember seeing him thinking, man, that guy would never make it in network marketing. And then later that day, he got recognized on stage for hitting like 50 people in his group. And I was like, that guy, the flame guy. And so it was a month or two later, there was another event. I saw the exact same guy. He was wearing the exact same flame shirt, teeth messed up, scraggly hair, looked like he just got out of bed. Looks like a guy you'd find on a street corner. And he got recognized for having like 100 people on his team at the next event. Like, it just showed me anyone can do it. So every single one of you can do that. I want you to lock that in your mind that you absolutely can. So what would prevent you from doing it? And I'm telling you, it is all mindset. It's all your belief system. And there's going to be so many things, and I don't know what it's going to be for you, but there's going to be some moment where you're like, I'm not cut out for it, or it's just too hard, or too many people have told me no, or someone I really care about who I wanted to join, they didn't, or maybe they joined and then they quit and then they tried to talk you out of it. And you were like, oh, it's just too much struggle, I quit. And unfortunately, if I look at my career in network marketing, I joined when I was like 18 years old. In my first few years, I had a lot of people that I know, young guys my age, friends, different coworkers, young guys, my same age, cross-line people who I kind of became friends with. All of these young guys who were in their, late teens and early 20s, all of us totally broke. I was as broke as anyone. I mean, I was like $30,000 in debt, living at home with my mom, working as a waiter, always struggling, showing up to meetings. And it's so funny, but after all those people, there's probably 100 people. If I were to sit down, and I probably have a lot of them still on my phone, I could probably find 100 of them that I still know and can think of. And out of all of those, there was about 7 that I can think of, 6 or 7. After all of my first few years in network marketing, all these people, about 7 who stuck it out over the years, and every one of us became a millionaire. Every one of us. And what's the difference? We just stuck it out. We just didn't quit when times got tough. So the question is, what do you do? Some of you are in maybe desperate financial situations, right? Maybe you're having trouble making ends meet. Maybe you're down on yourself because you're in a slump. And first off, when you get down on yourself, if we're in this PMA, PMA world, positive mental attitude, right? And I remember reading Think and Grow Rich, and I'd come to events and it was all about PMA. You got to have a PMA, positive mental attitude. You got to ditch that stinking thinking and always think positive. And so I would end up thinking negative, and then I'd beat myself up about it. And so if you have negative thoughts that creep in, that come in your mind, and sometimes they consume your mind, as they did with me, understand that you are normal. You're normal. It's part of the game, right? At some point, you're probably going to think you're not cut out for it. Even though you've hit rank, things change, right? There's going to be some moment where you think, oh, it's just too hard, or it doesn't work, or the grass is greener on the other side. I mean, I've seen people quit for 100 reasons, right? And I tell you all this to just understand, when you get in that phase, what I call it is the valley of death. Like the valley of death is coming. It's coming for all of you. Okay. This is where people think I'm negative because I'm telling you the valley of death is coming for you. And the valley of death is when you're in a valley, maybe it's your business, maybe it's your income, maybe it's your mental state, your emotional state. You're in a valley. You're going to go through a valley. Okay. And you have a choice to whether it's going to be a valley or a valley of death. Okay. So what I want you to understand is that if you keep going, if you keep walking through the valley, you will come out of it. You will get out of the valley if you keep going, right? I remember when I owned a network marketing company and the recession hit back in 2008, stock market crashed. World came tumbling down, had fraud in my company, banks held all our money. I mean, it was just the most disastrous thing I've ever had in business. And I remember emotionally, like getting to the point where I understood why my father committed suicide because I was so depressed, so down, right? But thank goodness I was around this type of environment because I realized I would get out of it. So just know when you're going through those times that you're going to get out of it if you keep going. If you keep walking, you're going to get out of it. And then there's a couple things I want to talk about is number one, just having that awareness. Because if you continue to beat yourself up and you continue to say to yourself, oh, it's so hard, oh, it's so hard, understand that everything that you say about yourself and your situation makes it more true. If you say it's hard, it's going to become harder. Now, personally, I refuse to say it's hard. I think it's a lot of work for sure, but I think it's joyous work. But I think it's very simple. So for me, if you were to ask me like, Matt, how do you feel when it comes to your ability to have success in network marketing? For me, it's easy. Like it's what I've programmed myself to believe after years of really believing it's hard. And when you're going through financial struggles, when you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make it to the next event. I know I need to be there. Obviously, I mean, the people who attend events, they make 10 times more than those who don't. So I have to be at the event, but I just don't have the money and it's going to stretch me too much. I'm going to tell you what I did because it's exactly what I've been through. I just said to myself over and over and over, I'm getting rich. I am getting rich. I am about to become so wealthy. It is all coming together for me. And see, understand that there's a thing that I'll do this on another call another time, but it's what I call the success path formula. And so it's essentially, you know, our feelings like confidence, motivation, joy, happiness, or sadness, or depression, or a lack of confidence. That comes from our thoughts and our belief system, right? So we are the only species that we know of that can think about what we think about. Right? So if we continue thinking it's hard, if we continue thinking we're broke, guess what manifests? A negative feeling. So you have the ability to control your thoughts. Now you're going to have triggers that come in, and the trigger comes in and it's like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I'm so broke. These were my triggers, right? And I had to have awareness of when the negative trigger came in. And so when the negative trigger came in and I said, gosh, I'm so broke, I had to turn it around and say, I'm getting rich. I am a multimillionaire. I am about to have so much money. It is ridiculous. I'm about to be driving my dream car, right? So I had to override the negative thoughts. And what happens is those triggers happen more and more or less and less based on the level of our thinking. If we're continually saying to ourselves, things are hard, difficult, you're going to have hard and difficult triggers, negative triggers, depression triggers, lack of confidence triggers. But what happens is as you start to have awareness of those triggers and turn them around and start saying and affirming exactly what you want and who you are. I used to say I was an idiot all the time. I started saying I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. I am such an intelligent man. I am such an incredible genius. I started saying that over and over and over. And you know what started to lessen? Me calling myself an idiot. The trigger in my mind saying Matt's an idiot. That started to go away. It still comes up every once in a while, and I've been preaching this stuff for 25 years now, okay? So the negative trigger always come, you got to override it. And so when you get in these financial situations like, oh man, I can't go to this event, or it's a struggle, I got to pay my, this or that, you got to be saying to yourself, I am getting rich. I am about to be so freaking wealthy. I'm about to be financially independent. And you start thinking about what you want. You start thinking about your dreams, because one of the things I read in Think and Grow Rich, my first personal development book I ever read, it said you become what you think about most of the time. You become what you think about most of the time. And if you're thinking about negative and hardship most of the time, that is exactly what you will manifest. See, what you manifest in your external world is a manifestation of what you've produced in your inner world. So if you have scarcity in your inner world and most of your thoughts are scarcity, you will only produce scarcity in the outer world. You will always struggle. You always will, right? So you got to have this unrealistic mindset that you're going to become wealthy, right? I was in network marketing for 5 years, and I wrote out every day. I was 5 years in, I'd write out every day, I'm a multimillionaire. I'm a multimillionaire. And I'm telling myself all the time, every time one of those negative thoughts about me, I can't afford this or that, I'm getting rich. I'm about to be so freaking wealthy. I am a millionaire. I'm the first millionaire in my family. I started affirming what I want. And so the belief system about who we are as people is based on our own programming, right? It's also based on our experiences. That programs us, what other people say about us. But the most powerful thing, and the thing that we can control the most, is what we say and what we think about ourselves. So if you're not affirming what you want about yourself, you're going to produce negative in the outer world. So I wanted to cover that because I think that is absolutely foundational. And over the next few minutes, I just want to talk about leadership. So this is kind of the first basic level of leadership in the company. And I'm going to share my screen here in a second. And I'm not going to go through all this. I'm going to give you a little bit of a foundation on leadership, because this is a bronze call. For some of you, it's the first bronze call. We go way deeper into this stuff on the gold calls and the higher level leadership calls. But I want to give you a little bit of a taste here. And so, when I got started in personal development, I read all these books on leadership, and it would give all these character traits of like, oh, a leader has to be motivated. A leader has to be confident. A leader has to be social. A leader has to be well-read. All these like character traits, but I can never really define it. And so maybe it's the green analytical side in me. Over the years, I developed these 5 levels of leadership. And so all of us operate at one of these 5 levels. And so what are the levels? So the first level is student. Okay, that's the first level in the leadership scale. You're not really a leader necessarily, but you never become a leader without being a student. The next level is producer. This is personal production. The next level is leader. This is where the duplication starts to happen. Then a leader producer, where you start to produce other leaders. This is where financial freedom begins. Real financial freedom is at this level. And then ultimate financial freedom is a leader duplicator. This is where you're making hundreds of thousands a year, whether you get out of bed or not, right? This is, purple diamond, black diamond level, okay? And so how do you advance through the levels? And, it's actually very, very simple. It's simply helping other people get to the level you're at, right? So if you are a student, help several other people, help a bunch of other people become students. Like they get in the business, right? Help them become students, and that will advance you to the next level, which is producer. So what do you need to be focused on as a student? Well, fall in love with learning. What I've found is the best leaders in the world, after 30 years of doing this, the best leaders love learning. They love personal development. They love understanding leadership. They're like almost obsessed with learning. So great leaders are great learners. The best students always become the best mentors. Earlier in your career, what you learn is more important than what you earn. So you may not be making a ton of money right now, but what you're learning will ultimately make you millions. And here's what's important. You have to always stay in student mode no matter what level you're at. Okay, because if you want to grow your people, you have to grow yourself. You can't grow your people if you're not growing yourself. It's why I'm always learning myself, because I want to help grow you all, right? And the way that I do that is through growing myself. And so the higher level leadership you're at, the more important it is to be a student. And so if you look at the 5 levels, the student is the base. Everything else lives on top of it. So these levels stack on top of each other, and no matter what level of leadership you're at, you're always a student. Okay. This is what knocks people off the leadership scale, is when they forget to become a student. This is why it's so important to attend every major event, right? All leaders who end up becoming financially free, they attend every event. They do whatever it takes to get there. Okay, so you're obviously attending events. You're learning the 7 key skills in network marketing. I'm not going to go through all these. You can take a screenshot of that, but it's basically finding people to talk to, inviting, presenting, following up and closing, getting new people started, promoting events, and then training, learning how to train others on those first 6. Okay. And then practicing what you learn. And this is what's the most important, is failing forward. If you are going to reach the top, you are going to have to fail a ton, right? It is no way around it, myself included, all of us. The only way that we rise to the top and we grow as a leader is if we fail a bunch, if we screw up a bunch, if we have a bunch of people say no, if we have a bunch of people quit on us. Like in my career, I've had 1 million+ people quit on me. I'm okay with it because I understand. It's what Tom Watson, he was the founder of IBM. He said, if you want to greatly increase your rate of success, double your rate of failure. If you want to greatly increase your chance of success, double your rate of failure. This is the key. If you're not failing a bunch, you're doing it wrong. Be proud of yourself when you fail. Be proud of yourself when you get a no. Be proud of yourself when you have someone on your team quit, because that's going to happen a bunch over the years, right? The next level is producer. This is the level that most people want to skip. Everyone wants to be a leader. Oh, I'm a leader, I'm a leader, I'm a leader. But they forget that you have to be a producer first before you become a leader. And so producer, you grow by addition. This is where you got mastery of the first 4 skills. It's finding people to talk to, presenting, inviting, presenting, and closing, getting people started. Okay, you're not a serious producer unless you personally enrolled at least 30. Write that down, take a picture, take a screenshot of it. This is where people are like, oh, I'm a leader, I'm a leader. Well, have you personally enrolled 30 people in Viago? If you haven't personally sponsored 30 people in Viago, you're not yet a leader. You're a producer, but you're not yet a leader because you haven't proven what it takes to be a producer. See, there's magic in 30. What my mentor told me is if you put in 30 people fast, it'll turn into thousands. 30 is just the magic number. I've talked to leaders in so many different companies over the last 30 years, and every one of them will tell you there's just something about 30, something about personally sponsoring 30. You sponsor 30 people, even if you have to get 300 no's to get the 30, something happens inside you. You've mastered this, and now you can teach it, okay? And you have to stay in producer mode until you're at the income level you want to retire at. So understand, as soon as you stop personally producing, your team stops personally producing. Okay, it's why I sponsored someone, sorry, it wasn't last week, but the week before. I'm not sponsoring as many as I should. I had a guy ghost me earlier this week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Did a call. Thought for sure he's going to enroll. Nothing. Ghosted me, right? I'm failing forward. Okay. And then warning, your income will typically decline unless you are at a level 5 leadership if you don't continue to personally produce. I don't know if that warning is red or green. I'm colorblind. So one of you put it in the chat and tell me if that's red.
It looks like an orange red.
For all I know, it's brown. I don't know. And here's the thing. Producers stagnate because of a lack of personal growth and then poor mastery of skills 5 and 6. What are skills 5 and 6? It's getting a new person started and promoting events, right? So understand, in your journey to becoming a diamond, blue diamond, red diamond, purple diamond, black diamond, in your journey, there is a science to this. And understand that we're going to teach you everything it takes all along the way to go all the way to the top, okay? And so what do you need to be doing as a producer? Well, set the bar high for your team. Continue to produce. Focus on mastering skills 5 and 6. So if you're a producer, you've personally sponsored 30 people, you want to really focus on getting new people started, right? You need to master that skill because that is where the duplication really starts to kick in. And then obviously promoting events. I've already promoted the events maybe 2 or 3 times. My purpose isn't to promote the events, but I'm always talking about the events. Why? Because I want to make it a priority in everyone's mind. I talk about it at every presentation. Why? Because I wanted to make it a priority in everyone's mind. People need to hear things over and over and over and over before they take action on things. And so, teaching your group how to master skills 1 through 4, right? Developing depth in a leg. You're always looking for the eagle. You're always looking for the person who's the next producer, right? Because how do you become a leader? You become a leader by helping at least 2 or 3 people become a producer. You got a producer left and a producer right. That's where essentially you're a leader, right? And I could go on and on and on. I mean, I could spend 2, 3 hours on this, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of an idea. And the whole point behind this is most people skip producer. Most people feel like they are a leader when they haven't personally sponsored 30. So if you haven't personally sponsored 30, this is your calling. This is your mission. Your mission, Operation Producer, is to go sponsor 30 people in Viago, not in whatever company. If you were in Secret or if you were in World Ventures, you're in some other company, I don't care how many you've sponsored in that company, you got to sponsor 30 personals in Viago. Otherwise, you're not a producer in Viago, and you can't help produce other producers and become a leader if you don't do it yourself. So, my friends, that's what I wanted to cover for you today. And I am going to get myself out of the way and turn it over to Efrosyni, who you all know. I mean, I've already talked about her earlier on the call, and she's just someone who like as soon as I met her, we just clicked. It was like, man, this is someone I want to be friends with. You ever have someone like, it's very rare for me to meet someone and just feel like, man, I want to be their best friend. And that's kind of how it was with us. And then over the years, as I got to know her more and more, I was like, damn, I want her to be my sister. Like, not just one of my best friends. I want this girl to be my sister. Like, I want to do life with her, right? I mean, we're both married to other people, but that's someone I want to do life with. And I look at several of you on here, like Sandy, I want to do life with you. You're awesome. You're amazing, right? I love you. Aaron, I want to do life with you, man. Helen, I want to do life with you. Like so many of you, like I just want to do life with you. And that's how I felt with Efrosyni. And as I've known her, I feel that more and more and more. So I'm just so blessed to work with her. She is one of the very best in the world. She's built teams of hundreds of thousands of people, made millions of dollars, helped several other people make millions of dollars, literally the best of the best. And so we are very, very blessed to have her. Efrosyni, I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
My bro, I'm just literally following in your shoes. Guys, I gotta tell you a quick story about this actually. The first time there's so many times that we got to hang out, but I'll never forget, we were at an event, I want to say, was it in Slovenia or something like that? And, we had already started becoming friends. And I'll never forget, we went back to Matt's place with a couple of friends. We're having a couple of drinks. And I remember sitting there and thinking, I get to be friends with my mentor, because it took me some time to get to the level of becoming friends. Because you got to bear in mind, Matt was the guy that I used to listen to his conference calls. I used to read his books, and he was the guy that was on stage. And I was like one of the people that was in the audience going, one day he will know my name. And then I remember just having this surreal moment of sitting around in Slovenia and just hanging out and spending quality time and building a friendship. And I remember looking at your shoes, man. I think I took a picture of his shoes and I put my foot next to it and I said, my mentor has big feet, and big shoes to follow. Like I'm going to do my very, very best in order to follow in his footsteps. But man, oh man, he makes it difficult because he's on a completely different level. And I think it wasn't the size of the shoes, but in my mind, I'm like, you're just this one person that every single time I feel like I'm catching up. You're so many years ahead of me, Matt. And I just sit there and take so many notes and I learn so much from you. But the one thing I respect and admire the most about you, you have this powerful gift of the way that you train, you make everybody realize that I can do it too. Like, literally, I've never met any other person in the world that has this amazing gift that no matter how many thousands of times I've listened to you, it has the ability of just getting rid of all this BS that is in here and going, yeah, we got this. We can do this. If Matt's done it, we can do it again, you know? And thank you, Matt, because honestly, doing this journey with you is a gift and a blessing. I love you.
Love you too, sis. Thank you.
And you make me emotional, man.
Ah, you're gonna give me a big head. You got to stop talking about me now.
Love you. So guys, look, I want to share a couple more things as we get ready to wrap things up. And as I was listening to Matt there was something that popped up for me that I remember was also a very big thing for me that I can totally relate to the negative self-talk. We've all been there. We've all had the ups and downs of questioning, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right track? Am I going to win? But I'll tell you the one thing that was robbing me of joy in this business for a very long time, and it was playing the comparison game. I remember sitting there and every single time someone would walk the stage, one part of my heart was like so excited for them because I know what it takes to be up on stage. But for the first few years, the other part of me was also upset with myself as to why I wasn't there. And go, well, I should have been there. I said at the next event that I was going to be this rank and I didn't do it. And someone would come in and, I'd be pushing for a particular rank. And then you'd see this person and they would literally come in and their rank that I was pushing for 2 years, they would do it in 6 months. And, I remember sitting there going, what have they got that I don't have? And I remember going to a training and I can't remember who said it. And they said that comparison is the thief of joy. And it just literally just resonated with me so much because I sat there and I said, how can I be truly happy building this journey, building this business, if every single time I'm comparing myself to others? Because here's the one thing, guys, everybody in this journey is going to have their own race that you got to run. Every single one of you. Some of you have come in and you've hit bronze and you've hit silver and you've hit gold fast. And some of you, hitting bronze felt like you hit emerald. Okay? It doesn't matter. Enjoy every single part of the journey. Your race is unique to you because every single one of you guys, some of you, maybe you started at the starting line. Some of you started a little bit ahead of the starting line. Like we see it in Viago right now. Some of you guys, this is not your first rodeo, okay? Maybe you built businesses before. Maybe you built network marketing businesses before, and you already came over and you knew what to do and you went and hit ranks fast. Some of you, this is the first ever network marketing company you're building, and you don't even know what network marketing was when you got started in Viago. So it's unfair to compare yourself to somebody that is a seasoned networker and going, well, they hit this rank faster than me. Okay. The only thing that you got to do, and I remember it took me some time to be able to do this, and this was a very big thing for me, is you just got to compare yourself to who you used to be 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago. What progress have you made in the last 10 months? What progress have you made in your level of personal development, in your level of communication? What progress have you made in your income producing activities? Are you a better inviter now? Are you a better presenter now? Maybe when you got started, you didn't even know how to present, but now you're presenting. Maybe now you're a better closer. And as long as you're making progress, celebrate the progress and the results will follow. And, it's, and listening to Matt as well, talking about being in student mode, The student mode never goes away. Like, you know, when I'm in front of Matt, I'm 100% in student mode. When I'm at the trainings, I'm in 100% student mode. You know, you never want to stop learning, because one of the most dangerous things that you can get to, not just in business, but in life, is when you start catching yourself saying, I know this. You know, when you say I know these, it's like the cup is full. And if my cup of knowledge is full, right? And this is my mind and it's completely full. I can bring a bottle of brand new knowledge, but I can't pour it into the glass because it's full. When you say I know, you don't learn anything new because you don't let anything new in. Now, sometimes you may hear the same thing 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, but maybe it's the 8th time that you needed to listen to it with a different perspective, a different mindset. You get a completely different meaning, and sometimes you have a different breakthrough. So every single time that I go into a training, as much as I feel like, you know, I've been around this industry for so many years, I just go into the training with, I know nothing. You know, Socrates, one of the greatest philosophers of our time, you know, one thing he kept on saying, all that I know is that I know nothing. And Socrates, who's still thousands of years after his death, is still quoted as a philosopher, was known for always being in student mode. So from my side, those are the key things. Now, I want to highlight one thing. I know that, you know, some of you guys, you know this, some of you guys, you don't know these, but very, very important. We've launched the Barcelona Escape, guys. It's gone live. It's going to close in 10 days. We've only been able to secure a handful of rooms. Barcelona's got some crazy events happening pretty much the same time as us. It's a very busy city, and it's also not the cheapest city. So that's why I am very glad that the company was able to secure a very competitive rate, staying at the host hotel. There's a 4-day, 3-night trip, and there's also a 5-day, 4-night trip. They're both available on the website. Now, one of the things that, you know, I learned early on, you know, building another travel business in the past, you know, when the company was putting trips together, I was one of the first people to book. When the company was announcing the next training, I was one of the first people to book. You know, that mindset hasn't changed over the years. And, you know, one thing that I've learned from my mentor is that if you expect your team to do something, you got to do it first. Now, we're blessed that we're in a travel and lifestyle company, which means that going on holidays is part of our job description. Okay? Your team is watching you right now, right? You posting the pictures of the half-day city tour at the flamenco show, doing a video from the breakfast, having breakfast with your team members at this hotel. This is what's essentially going to transfer belief back to your team that maybe for whatever reason they couldn't be there watching, you know, with you. So now you're taking your personal experience and you're transferring it to your team and you're giving them that energy. Now, I understand for some of you guys, you're like, well, Efrosyni, you know, I can't afford to come on this trip. And if I book the trip, I can't afford to come to the training. I have to choose one of each. Obviously, if you can only choose one of each, you got to make sure you're at the training, okay? But if you figure out a way to do both, this is very, very key. The energy going on an escape right before an event. We say the formula of success. You probably heard me say this 1,000 times. I'm probably going to say it 10,000 times more. The formula of success is very, very, very simple. Go in a training, book a trip, show some people, and repeat. And every single time you go to the next training, you take your team members with you. Book another trip, take more people with you, and repeat. It's a very simple formula. It's not easy because, as Matt said, what's easy to do is also easy not to do. Okay? But it's a simple formula. And you keep repeating this formula until you win. So, thank you for tuning into our Bronze and Above call, guys. Hope you guys got some massive value. I apologize for the translation situation. We promise next time we'll have translation. Hopefully the AI technology helped to take some of that away from you guys and you were able to actually understand some of the things that we were saying. That's it from my side. I don't know what just happened to my screen right now, but thank you once again, guys. And remember, September is an amazing month because some people were in holiday mode. I know that some of you guys were not in holiday mode. You did what we recommended, which is gain market share during the holidays. When you plant a lot of seeds during the summer holidays, you enjoy a big harvest in the autumn. For some of you guys, you took that, you capitalized on that, and that's why you've jumped ranks, and I'm proud of you guys. And now is the time to reap the harvest. And if you didn't plant any seeds, guess what? Day one. Let's go plant some seeds. See you on the presentation in 10 minutes.
All right, see you everyone.